How do you feel about thunderstorms? Personally, I quite like them. I like hearing the wind and the rain, the peals of thunder, all that power and majesty going on in the world outside while I'm safe and dry. But I know at least one person who comes out in a cold rash if you even mention a thunderstorm. I guess if you've been caught out in one without the protection of a good, strong roof, or if you've experienced your roof blowing off or being damaged in a storm, you might feel a little differently. Maybe the majestic power of the storm instead becomes frightening. I think David was probably watching a storm from the safety of his home when he wrote Psalm 29. He compares the thunder to the voice of God. Give credit to the Eternal, O heavenly creatures. Give praise to him for his glory and power. Give to the Eternal the glory due his name. Worship him with lavish displays of sacred splendour. The voice of the Eternal echoes over the great waters. God's magnificence roars like thunder. The Eternal's presence hovers over all the waters. His voice explodes in great power over the earth. His voice is regal and grand. The Eternal's voice shatters the cedars. His power splinters the great cedars of Lebanon. He speaks and Lebanon leaps like a young calf. Syrian jumps like a wild, youthful ox. The voice of the Eternal cuts through with flames of fire. The voice of the Eternal rumbles through the wilderness with great quakes. He causes Kadesh to tremble. The Eternal's voice brings life from the doe's womb. His voice strips the forest bare, and all the people in the temple declare glory. The Eternal is enthroned over the great flood. His reign is unending. We ask you, Eternal One, to give strength to your people. Eternal One, bless them with the gift of peace. David looks out on the storm, and in it he sees the power and majesty of God. And I've stood on mountaintops and at the bottom of redwood trees looking up and felt similarly. The earth itself seems to cry out how awesome its creator is, the one who made the seas and flung the stars into space. But as we contemplate this mighty, all-powerful, eternal voice whose voice is thunder, as we contemplate God, it's worth remembering the still small voice that Elijah heard. It's worth remembering the tender miracles of Jesus, him healing, restoring a soldier's ear, gently healing what had been lost through violence. It's worth remembering that this all-powerful God is the same God that was moved out of his love for us to come and suffer and die in our place. The God who speaks in thunder, whose voice shatters the cedars, he is your loving Father. No wonder the Apostle Paul wrote, "If God is for us, who can be against us?"